Welcome to the Working Class Bowhunter Podcast. I appreciate you being here. This episode is a fun one. Just a pre-warning on everything. It was not recorded in studio. We actually recorded this in Wisconsin Dells at the Open Season Sportsman's Expo. That moved from Madison to Wisconsin Dells this year. I hope it stays in the Dells. The venue was awesome. The hotel was great. Everything was just amazing. All you guys that came out to say hi and picked up some of our Wisconsin shirts and got in the HHA giveaway, we really appreciate it. Even if you didn't pick up anything, we appreciate you coming out and saying hello and having a beer and just out there to have a good time. So I can't wait for next year for that show. We're going to try and hit more shows this next year, and we'll announce what shows we're going to do, obviously, when we figure all that out. But real quick, they moved the Ohio show. It's in Columbus, Ohio still. It's July 30th through August 1st, 2021. Just if you're wanting to go to that one, OpenSeasonSportsmanExpo.com has all the info. But I had to do that. That's an awesome show. Good people that run that show. So support them. And, man, they knocked it out of the park trying to just make everything feel normal again. So big shout out to them guys and girls behind the scenes. It was an incredible show. Met a lot of new people and just had a lot of fun. So it was a good time. Also in the news for us, the spring turkey bracket on CarbonTv.com. If you go to that, at this point, the time of airing, hopefully we made it through the finals. And, well, basically, we got one voting now. That'll be up tomorrow, the time this recording. So the time you're hearing this, hopefully we're in the finals, and you can vote for us to win. The first round, we did a Elite Archery swag pack and a WCB swag pack. If you showed that you voted, basically just send us a screenshot that you voted. Then you can post on your story, private message it to us, comment a screenshot of it, whatever you got to do. Round 2, we did spring food plot seed from Big Time and a Working Class Bowhunter swag pack. And round 3 on this round, we are doing a Scent Crusher gear bag and a Working Class Bowhunter swag pack on this. The round 4, the finals that you hear right now, that are live right now, hoping that we made it to the finals. We are going to do I think we're going to do an HHA Tetra site giveaway on that. So do that. Take a screenshot of it, message it to us, send it to our personal pages, throw it in the comments, share up the post, help us take the win on that. So, the video that's up for vote is the turkey decap for my spring bird last year. Anyway, moving on. Just me in the studio now because this was recorded at the show. I'm going to just kind of run through the business and get to it. This is a really informative episode, and I'm really looking forward to more episodes with these guests because just the amount of knowledge together both of them have, that it just creates so many avenues that we can all run down. Some funny stuff happens in the middle. Doug's pretty embarrassed, so you have to listen to the episode to find out. Or this will be out on video also. That embarrassment for Doug will actually be on video and even funnier there. So listen now if the video's not out, and then watch it later on the video, or just do both, and hopefully you find it as funny as we did. We're not mad at him, and he is a little embarrassed, but he'll get over it. It's funny. The podcast is presented by HHA Sports. HHAUSA.org also supports our veteran shout-out, so we kind of have the two families with HHA there. If you're looking to get into a single-pin sight, a drop-away rest, a new stabilizer setup, use code WCB15 at HHA. Podcast also brought to you by Scent Crusher. Big shout-out to Scent Crusher for doing a gear bag giveaway for this other turkey bracket round. So we appreciate that. We're picking a winner either way. If we win or lose it, that'd be unfair. But yeah, Scent Crusher, in our opinion, the leader in ozone scent. I was going to say scent crushing technology. That's kind of what they call it. That's kind of what we call it too. It works. ScentCrusher.com. Also, Big Time. Right now's the time to be thinking about spring plots or even planting your fall plots. Big Time really has it all. I'm going to plant clover in the spring, I think. I just bought myself a little garden Working Class tractor thing. And then in the fall, it's hard for me to get away from buck brunch, but I might experiment with some other stuff. I don't know. I'm going to do a couple small plots. We'll see what we can figure out. If you're looking to get your own Big Time seed, use code WCB2021 at BigTime.com. That's works from seed, supplemental feed, merch, everything they offer. Also, the Grind turkey decoys and turkey calls. That is going to be a heavily used product along with our thermoseats at Turkey Palooza and turkey season coming right around the corner here. Got our decoys in. I'm opening them up, checking them all out, and they look incredible, and they're priced right. So if you're looking to get into your own new turkey decoys, or if you haven't got a set yet, definitely check out the Grind. And they also have diaphragm calls and everything else you need to basically complete your turkey hunt. And we're going to try and trace them on the Rhodes Ridge e-bikes. It's going to be a lot of fun. Also, Old Barn Taxidermy. They are doing a special. I was hoping to have the information by now. They're doing a special on full strut turkey on a limb, and we're in the talks about if you kill a bird and you want it full mounted, that we might enter you in for a deer head the following fall. So think about that. If you kill a bird, if you always wanted a full turkey mount and you get a bird this year, it could pay back twice with a full mount. But I'll have more information on that a little on down the road here. Elite Archery, I just got my Remedy in. Don't have it set up yet. I went with the Realtree Escape camo because I think it looks awesome. Use code WCB at elitearchery.com. Gator Outdoors, outfitting the working class, GatorOutdoors.com. Use code WCB25, 25% off. That's pretty awesome. And also Victory Archery, Thermoseat, Loophole Optics, and Slick Trick Broadheads. Basically everything. Each one of our partners offers something different for us on our hunts, so it works out really well. I'm still got to set up my new Loophole. It's the RX Full Draw 4 rangefinder, and this is like an archery hunter or a 3D archer's dream, assuming you're doing known yardage. But it pretty much, you enter the information and take some measurements on your bow and all that, and it tells you where like your max arrow like arc will be. So if you're shooting in like tight spots or there's a branch in the way, and it'll indicate where your arrow will hit, so you don't mess up on a big buck and wound one or just miss clean altogether. So something cool to check out. And then of course Victory, the Rip TKOs. But I think we're going to check out the SSs and switch it up a bit, but we'll see. All right. I'm going to quit rambling. No veteran shout out this week because Doug is not here, but we do, it is always brought to you by hhausa.org. So check them out. And we had a couple questions this weekend about what shoot date we're going to make. We haven't fully settled on it yet. We got a lot going on and some big announcements here down the road, but we'll make some posts about it. Anyway, I'm going to quit rambling. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Get some laughs and learn a little. Thanks for being here. Working Class Boner Podcast. We are in the Kalahari Resort in Wisconsin, Dells, Wisconsin, up here for the open season Sportsman's Expo. Right. They moved it from Madison to the Dells this year, and I don't know if it sounds like they're open-minded to keeping it here, which I'm not mad at. This is a cool area.
It's kind of nice that everything's underneath one roof.
Yeah, it is really cool. It's nice. It's luxury. Mm-hmm. We're in the Camaraderie Suite here at the Kalahari. We have a wet bar. We have some, what are those beds called?
Murphy beds.
We have two Murphy beds. That's random, but it's fun, right? And then we get two special guests in the studio, but it's not really the studio. I'll let you guys introduce yourselves so people know your guys' names, and I can't say your last name, so.
Kasey Morgan, Drury Outdoors, staying in the Murphy bed tonight. You are?
He's staying here.
Thank you for doing the podcast, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate being here.
Greg Glesinger, Drury Outdoors as well.
Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for the invite, guys. This is fun.
We chat about this we talked on the phone a month ago and kind of bullshitted and kind of kept in touch and got to meet in person at Iowa, and this just worked out the best, doing it here at the resort and everything like that. So I appreciate you guys coming in to cut up with us in the hotel room. We're not used to sitting on a couch and recording. It's kind of nice.
It's kind of luxury.
Yeah, I could dig this.
Have you done a lot of podcasts?
Lately, ever since we've had the success this past 3 or 4 years, it's increased substantially.
You guys have been on fire. I feel like every time I see, really anybody from Drury right now, but you more specifically, you're behind for lack of a better term, a fucking giant. It seems like every time I get on Instagram, I'm like, golly, man. So, what's the last, break down the last 5 years of bucks for us.
Well, Kasey, you can jump in where I missed it, but 2017 was a 203. 2018 was a 239. 2019 was 194, and then 2020 was 233.
Holy smokes, man.
Yeah.
You're living right when you can't remember exactly what year that.
Yeah, right.
Right. And you filmed all these.
Yep.
You're in the mix right there on all these giants.
Yes, absolutely.
Is he going to let you shoe on one of these days or what?
Hey, what's
Gee
that about?
whiz.
Oh, I get my fix plenty.
Yeah. So that's 3 200-inch deer in the last 5 years.
4 years.
4 years.
Yep.
No shit. And
Yeah.
one in the 190s.
194. Yep. All with a bow.
What is how many 200-inch deer do you have under your belt?
Those 3.
Those 3. No shit.
Yep.
That's impressive.
You figured out something the last 4 years, huh?
We've, there's an old saying, and looking at you guys, you can't do something alone, right?
Yeah.
And it truly is, teamwork is dream work.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a passion of mine, for a long time. And there's very few people that I come across that can carry the passion with a backpack like that. And when I came across Kasey, it truly was, the ham and egg situation.
Yeah.
And he carries the passion, just as much, if not more, than I do.
Mm-hmm.
And for us to be at the level that we're doing it, it truly is 365 days.
Yeah.
We may not be in the field,
Right.
365, but I guarantee you his mindset,
Right.
and mine are always working. How can we do? What can we change? We're always
Yeah, for sure.
constantly working on something.
Well,
scheming.
I mean, to get in deer like that, you can't not be into it for half of the year and then all of a sudden be really into it.
You can't even skip a day at that caliber of
Yeah,
deer.
yeah, right. Like we have an old saying. Chandler kind of coined this. We're talking about like getting into. Basically, I think the topic was people that are getting into big bucks. So I mean, for a lot of guys, that's that 150 mark and up. And we had a shirt about it for a while. You can't trip into a 150. It takes a little bit of effort. Well, throw another 50, 70, 80 inches
On top of that.
and it doesn't happen by accident. There's no way. You'd be the luckiest dude on the planet if that was by accident. So I know what it takes to kill good deer that are 150. I don't know what it's like to kill deer. 239?
239, yeah.
Golly, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start this conversation. I want to talk 200-inch deer. That's a different class. That is like you've done it in whitetails.
Top notch.
I mean, you kill over 170. I feel like you've done it in whitetails, but then you have like Greek goddess of whitetails or gods of whitetails like that. It's just hard to believe. Our buddy Ross has 3 200s. We know a lot of guys that got you got a buck in the high 90s, and we're familiar with what they're like. But it's rare when you see someone that has a rollout list of 190 plus deer. How many guys out there have over 3 200-inch deer?
On the Drury team, it's myself and Mark.
Yeah.
And he has 3 as well. It didn't really hit me until Mark came over. Well, the true story is it's all on video, so we can't lie about it. But we met in a restaurant, Mexican restaurant in Osceola, and we taped him. And he looked at me and goes, "You realize you just tipped over the largest whitetail in DOD history?"
No kidding.
And he goes, "I'm 100%, 99% certain you just tipped over the largest whitetail ever filmed in professional television, outdoor history."
No kidding.
So we didn't realize we were in that caliber until that happened.
Yeah.
And then last year, this past fall, we shot the 233, and he came over the next morning. Actually, he went on the track with us because he was so excited. And he came over and we did a Facebook Live section.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You realize you got the 2 number 1 whitetails with a bow in DOD history, and that's 31 years." So I didn't put it in perspective of what we were doing until Mark sat us down and, kind of brought it to reality.
Right.
And then it took a while for us to really kind of let it soak in, appreciate what we have achieved.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
So that was kind of
That's amazing, man.
a somber moment there for a minute.
Well, I mean, you have like the Boontown DVDs, which I don't know how many there are now. I have several of them. And you watch all those giants being killed.
And it's just like you think giant deer when you think like Drury and the team and all that. So to be the king of bucks on Drury is fucking incredible, man. And just breaking it down with 200-inch deer, how many guys have 3? Like even outside of Drury, not many.
Not many.
How many guys have 1?
Yeah,
not many.
Yeah,
not many.
How many do you think? 30 guys?
I
maybe?
never looked it up. I don't know.
Casey, how would you? I don't doubt there's like a
Casey's much. He knows the stats better than I do.
I'll tell you what. There's big deer getting killed a lot, and a lot of them that don't get the press or publicity.
There is a lot of that. Yeah,
and I don't want to discredit that because there's deer.
That's fair.
There
point.
are hunters across the United States everywhere killing monsters. Some of them are doing it pretty regularly that you'll never hear about.
They don't want it
perfectly
out.
fine with
yeah,
that.
Well, we know a guy that's kind of that way.
Which I have all the respect in the world for. That's great.
Pretty cool, yeah.
But there's also the when you think about putting it out there and from the producing it, that side of it is it's just impressive. What Gregg's done and that type of deer. Anytime you're getting mentioned in the same sentence as Mark Drury, you're like, oh boy,
right.
Growing up watching that stuff, you start to have an appreciation. You're like, oh man,
I think one thing we're going to talk about though is this is a we thing. He says what Gregg's done. I want to do a time out there because I don't think I'd be in this position with Casey's help and his thoughts, because when we go strategize, we go into it with his thoughts, my thoughts, we come out completely different. Right?
Yeah,
right. Two minds are always better than one.
Obviously, it's working.
It's right. It's
well, I was just going to say that. I was like, you have to feel that those are just as much your bucks because you're there for the process. It's you have that much invested.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And it is people. I think that a lot of people don't think that when you film something, you hear people say all the time, it's no different than killing it, but it truly is. You get to be a part of it. You get to watch it unfold. You get a different perspective, and it's a gratifying experience, no doubt.
Well, I would debate that you have just as much, if not more, pressure for the production because you're worried about what the buck. He's worried about the shot and putting his arrow where it needs to go. You're worried about not screwing up any of the process.
Oh, yeah.
Getting the shot. Try not to be picked off by a 200-inch whitetail.
Try not to move.
Yeah, so I
think there's more pressure on the cameraman. I've been on both sides of it. I'd much rather be in the driver's seat with the bow in my hand than have the camera in my hand as far as the pressure goes.
Dude, plus you got a giant buck and you're like shaking, and you're like, tough. God damn it, hold steady.
You're
gonna
shaking,
mess
actually your thumb hits the record to stop the button.
Oh, the whole double punch.
The double punch.
The double punch. Been there, done that.
Why even bring that up?
We don't mess with cameras much, but that's like the one thing you hear about is like the double tap on the record button.
Yeah. Well, even the prior farm work and the setup, when we're setting up a farm, you sit there and you debate this stuff for hours and, how we're going to mow this trail or put this blind.
You lose sleep over it.
Even that is what's, the pressure's on from there. You're like, okay, is this in the right spot? You're sitting there, you're waiting. You have the deer, right? He's there. Now it's up to you not to screw it up.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, it's.
Well, a prime example, the one we just shot this past fall at 233. Where he lived.
It's insane to me still. It's like.
Where he lived was, if you took our farm and you dropped the pin dead center, right? He lived in the perfect spot. The worst spot for us for access. Horrible.
Smart deer.
Yes.
Yeah,
well, that's why he's 233, right?
Right.
So we basically looked at each other and said, this is, if we had a helicopter, we could kill him. If not, how are we going to do this? And so we took, 18-hour drive home, coming from out of New Mexico, strategizing from our elk trip, coming home strategizing how we're going to kill him, and we came up with basically walking a creek the entire way. Mm-hmm. And crossing a huge bean field that we knew coming out was going to be through an atomic bomb on a third of our farm, but we had to go all in on that particular deer because we had the weather. It was October 1st, opening day, and it was the cold fronts of all cold fronts.
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, if this is the time, it's the time.
But at that caliber of deer, though, you're going to bust out half your farm. You're going to do it.
Well, that was it. We're like, where he lives, we have to go all in on this and and basically, give past everything else we want.
That move, you made that move on October 1st?
October 1st.
That's crazy.
Dang.
It was crazy. Borderline stupid for a lot of people. They would say that was stupid.
Yeah.
But we killed him on the first evening. And sometimes you have to go all in to risk it. And
so it's a great buck and everything, but can you only shoot one buck in Wisconsin?
In Wisconsin, we can shoot two.
Oh, two? With a bow?
But this was in Iowa.
This was in Iowa.
Oh, it was in Iowa.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But back to what you're saying, which is when the wind's perfect and all that, from a farm management standpoint, it's a 233. Yes, you got to do what you got to do to kill that deer.
Sure.
But from a farm overall big picture standpoint, it still is a drawn out process. You're like, are we really going to do this? Are we going to blow a third of our farm off for this deer?
Because if you wouldn't have killed them, you got different problems.
Right.
And other deer, right? Because if you let's say you go in and you miss the deer, God forbid, or blow him out, or he catches you, wins you, blows off. Now you screwed up that deer, and you leave the first day of your season knowing that you screwed that deer up, which was your number one target. And oh, by the way, you just started a stampede on the other side.
Right.
So it's not a
Okay, let's talk about this a little bit because that was a high risk move, but an educated move.
100%.
You didn't go in there on accident and kill
No.
him. Like you talked about, like you said, and planned it out.
Yep.
Do you feel a lot of times, I'm trying to think how to word this. Do you think a lot of people that consume outdoor content kind of get too aggressive or not? It kind of goes both ways. And I guess I don't know how to word this exactly. Guys on TV do it, and they're, you guys calculated and talked about it. They make stupid moves, so they think they can pull it off when maybe it wasn't the right move. They go too hard. Or the opposite. People are scared to make aggressive moves to get on a deer, and they miss all their opportunities. Do you feel like that's maybe one thing a lot of people don't know how to properly apply, when to put the pressure, when to full throttle on and off? I guess what I'm getting at, does that make the difference between a big buck killer and not a big buck killer?
Well, I think there's some truth to what you're saying. I think you got to know when to push and when not to push, and we rely a lot on fronts.
Is that number one, do you think, when it comes to making a...
We always chase weather over moon.
Really? Okay.
Always. And, well, I'll back up it with facts, okay? Mm-hmm. We shot the 233 first sit, 239 first sit, 194 first sit.
No shit. That's impressive, man.
So we really study the weather fronts. We really study wind direction. We understand where they're coming, where they're going, their beds. We've done all the homework, and then we just wait for the right moment to go in when we can align as many possibilities in our favor before we go in there.
Right.
And because we know at this, when they're 6, 7, 8 years old, you don't have too many chances to swing and miss.
Well, let me ask you this then. I know DeerCast makes a lot of this easier for the average
100%.
person, which is kick ass. But what specifically in weather, in a front, are you looking for? What's the first thing you're checking on?
Well, for the one we just shot this past fall, 233, we had a 22 or 25 degree drop in temp.
Yep.
Opening day, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's
right there.
And by the way, we needed a northwest wind. It's a northwest wind, 20-plus degree drop in temp. He was going to a bean field. It was going to start shifting from green beans to starting to fade into brown. Mm-hmm. And once they get to that brown, anytime they obviously get off that, and they back off it. And that's where he was living. So, we have a small window where we know where he's at now. In another 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, he's going to move somewhere. We don't know where that's going to be, but it ain't going to be here.
Yeah.
And so we're as soon as we had that weather front and we had the weather, we're we know where he's at due to intel. We got to make a move. If there's a time to be aggressive, why not do it now, even though it is October 1st?
Right? Yeah, definitely.
And when Mark came over the next day, he was we had the best day of all days of deer hunting he said I can ever remember in years.
On the opening day.
On opening day. And there's tons of giants that fell around all over that.
There's a 200-incher that got killed in our area opening morning.
It was all because of that front.
Yeah.
It's a massive 22, 25-degree drop in temp.
Because then after that front, it warmed back up a lot after that.
It got normal.
Yeah.
We had the best early October that I could ever remember, and then we had the worst November that I could ever remember.
It was weird.
Yes.
I tagged out. I mean, hell, a lot of us tagged out up until pretty much before the end of October. But, I mean, not on 200-inch deer on my end, but I tagged out on deer I wanted to kill. But I was going to ask you, too, where was I going with the weather? So a drop in temperature would be number one, the front. And that's kind of during the season, we don't – normally, off-season, we schedule our podcast weekly. We know what day we're going to meet up and record. during season, it always dictates what the weather's doing. So if there's a front, we'll be like, we have like a 2 to 3 day span when we adjust when we're going to record. So like, on Thursday, if a cold front's coming in, we want to be able to get that and then record. We'll record the day after.
We love podcasting, but we love hunting.
We're deer hunters first, podcasters second.
That's
so
right.
So all the working class bow hunter fans out there, if these guys are putting out a bunch of podcasts, you might as well just sit down and listen to them, because when they're not talking, then you need to be in the woods.
yeah, exactly. If we're delayed a day on our episode launch, you better be thinking about hunting.
Exactly. So you can just hunt these guys. Like when they're talking a lot, just stay home and listen, and when they're not talking, then you
better get out.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, that's not pattern us, just like the deer. But I like that breakdown. That's something we haven't really, did we've talked about, but not a lot of deep dives on weather. So I was just curious, hitting those first sits, wind and temperature drop is pretty good. I mean, is there anything else like? Is rain good? Are you looking at rain or snow or
like a pressure? Or
I'm assuming barometric pressure is big for you guys.
Go ahead, Kasey.
It is. I mean, like, if you can, it's always a chance. So, like, if you can see rain ending right prior to prime time movement, if the weather front stops when you feel like the deer should be moving, they're going to move on you.
Yeah.
Right? We do a lot of that. Like
the 194. That's what happened on the 194.
We'll go in when we can see, like, okay, the rain or snow, that happened to be snow, oddly enough, at that time. But, like, when the rain is going to hit right at dark or right at the last few hours of sitting, we'll go out and hunt that for sure, because knowing full well you're going to walk out in the rain, but it's probably going to cause movement earlier.
Yeah.
Or, my favorite days to hunt are when a pressure or a weather front moves through. Then you got that one day of just horrible wind usually, because that wind ushers the front out. And then the following day, like, everyone thinks they need to rush in and hunt that day after the rain moves. Well, they usually have high winds and a tough time, but then that following day or following few hours after that wind ushers the front out it's
the calmest ever.
It's a great time to be out there.
Interesting. Yeah.
I mean, that's a patience thing, but it works out well for us. That year ago, we killed 2 different deer out of the same set, and both times it would rain, it would stop, and they'd get up and we'd kill the deer, and then right when we were dragging the deer out or it would start just opening up on us, and it was miserable getting the deer out of there and all that.
But worth it.
Yes, well worth it. But just in between the fronts or in between a rain is paid off.
I like that conversation. I like this. This is good.
When you got this radar app anymore, which if you don't have it, get it, right? And you can look where you're hunting and then look at that radar and get in before. And if you get those windows like Kasey's talking about, it is dangerously good.
Yeah. See,
and most of them weather apps anymore, they'll show like a weather, like the rain coming in, they'll show the wind coming in and when it's getting past you and everything.
Yes.
They're so good anymore.
I like that kind of break. It's almost like an hourly breakdown on what the weather's going
to be.
Oh, it is. You can look and see, like, this is how you need to calculate your entry.
Well, that's how we decide when we're going in.
Yeah. No,
we're trying to, because obviously with all this equipment we have, it's not cheap.
Yeah.
So we can't sit there and get pounded.
That's a good point too. I was going to ask too, like, if in your guys' experience, if it's raining all day and it's just a consistent rain all day, do you feel like, would you go out? Are you going to waste your time and think like, oh, they got to move? Because you hear so many like wise tales from,
they got to move eventually.
Deer like the rain, they're going to move. And this, they'll be moving in the rain. I personally, when I sit and I'm bummed because I'm wet and didn't see anything.
I'll challenge you guys. If you guys are hunting different farms and you're sitting and it starts to rain, okay, and then I want you all to text each other the first deer you see come out of its bed and starts walking. I'm willing to bet you that you guys go 4 for 4 within 15 minutes of each other.
No kidding.
That's my bet.
Of when it starts to rain?
When they all get up. When the rain stops.
Oh, when the rain stops.
When the rain stops, I'm going to bet you, even if you're on different farms, they're going to all be up on their feet within 15 minutes.
No kidding.
Yeah, they just don't like us. Like, they just don't want to lay there and get wet once they get wet.
Just send each other a text. Go, I got one. One's up. And I bet you each one of you guys send each other a text within 15 minutes.
Yeah, true. It makes sense. A lot of this, if you think about it,
it makes sense.
It's not obvious because maybe some people it is, but that's why I like to break it down because a lot of listeners might not know any of this, or I'm going to pick up something that I didn't think about, But I mean, you think about it. Yeah, no one wants to lay there and get wet.
But we'll actually go in the rain, right? Mm-hmm. Knowing that the front's going to stop in 30 or 45 or an hour, right?
Yeah, it's calculated.
But once it stops. it's within 15 to 20 minutes, and they're on their feet.
Yeah.
And I would say, too, like anyone who's following weather apps, you have a 2 to 3 day, maybe 3 days where you can look out forward.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, as hunters, we try to make a plan for, let's say it's Monday. We're looking at Wednesday, Thursday.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, but eventually that plan's probably going to change 3 times within the day. So, like, we do a lot of, like, at noon we're checking it, going, okay, it's going to stop here. We're going to move here. This is where we're going to go in. It's very difficult to plan more than 3 days out. We found.
Yeah.
Like, we're always talking like, oh man, it looks like rain. Well, we really won't know that if it's raining on Wednesday until Tuesday evening.
Yeah, yeah.
Or sometimes even till Wednesday.
Especially when you're chasing a 2-hour window.
Right.
Exactly. You could spend and go like, okay, roughly it's going to rain sometime on Wednesday, but when you're chasing that 2-hour window where it's going to stop, the deer are going to move, you're going to put one down, and then you're going to,
Yeah.
it's tough to plan.
It kind of goes back to being like, when to throttle on and throttle off, and how to look for certain things where you can make a move during a certain window. And I don't know, there's just a lot. Like, you're not going to be too aggressive and make stupid mistakes and go in on a giant buck and mess it up. Like, you're waiting for the right time. You're patient for the right time to go in. You're not waking up on Wednesday morning hoping it was going to be this wind. You wake up and the wind's different, but you go anyway because you're just excited. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? You can't go because it's not going to work for you.
Prime example of 239. We shot him, I think it was on the 29th of October, and we had the first northwest wind with a decent pressure was like the 25th or 26th, which was opening day of youth season. And I had my son in camp, and I'm like, we can't go for obvious reasons. Mm-hmm. And then we waited. The pressure got better. The weather got better. And we went in. We tipped them over on the first sit because we were patient all year long. Mm-hmm. We had so many elements we're chasing. Until they're dead solid perfect, we're not going to go in there.
Right.
As many factors we can align, right? You can't wait for everything to be perfect, but as many as we can.
Yeah.
And to give you some background on that, what he's saying is it's tougher than you think because we had daylight pictures of that 239 prior to this in the season. And you think, oh, my God, it's daylight. We have to go in. Well, we want to go in as much as the next guy, but you didn't, and then, you waited for it to be just right, which is very difficult to wait that amount of time. You've got
when you got a big buck like that in daylight.
Well, the chances will he move, right?
Right.
He may move
You're
to a different
rolling the
far.
dice a little bit.
Exactly. Every day that goes by, you're like, is he going to stick around?
Yeah,
I'm like, it doesn't matter if he does or doesn't because we're not this is not in our favor. So the patience is probably the number one thing that the listeners should really pay attention to. Is if you don't have the patience, you're never going to be successful.
I love that too. Well, now it's so hot to be mobile, which I love hunting mobile. It's been great for me, but I think a lot of people probably mess up a lot. I guess that's what I was kind of trying to get to earlier. Would mess up and go in when it wasn't in the favor. It was not the highest of odds to kill the deer. If he waited for the right front or the right wind or whatever entry-exit situation, you could have went in. Where you go in, you don't kill him, and like we talked earlier, you're like, okay, on your exit, then you bust him, and then he's on death count 5 alert next time you go in there to get him. And then how many times do you get to mess up on a giant?
Not
like
too
that?
many.
If you want to make it simple, just be selfish as a hunter, which means, okay, if you go in and push it and you don't kill him, you're automatically mad. Like, okay, I just pushed the wind. I probably screwed that deer up. He's been here. I messed it up. But if you wait till it's perfect and you don't kill him, at least you walk out and you say, okay, I got in and out of there. I didn't see him. Odds are good. We're okay. At least you can go home at night and be like, hey, man, I did everything I could there.
Right.
And it didn't work out. That's
a great way to think about it.
Yeah.
But if you go in and you push it and you mess it up, you're automatically go home and.
What?
How you doing, Doug?
Good.
You falling asleep?
No,
Are you okay?
I'm good.
Doug, we're talking about deer hunting.
Doug is tired.
What the fuck? Did you fall asleep?
Maybe a little bit.
We have a long day, Doug.
It's a long day.
We're talking about 200-inch whitetails here, and you're falling asleep. Is that a first?
I think that is the first that someone fell asleep on a podcast.
Well, I guess, Kasey, we're that boring.
Yep.
No,
Doug's just that drunk.
Dinner was good, and we drank a lot today.
What? Doug, that's really funny. I'm glad this is videoed. Yes. There better be a zoom in on that Wade when he falls asleep.
No.
How rude of you, first of all. Though.
Sorry.
Now I forgot what we were talking about.
Can you crop in a bunch of sheep jumping like he's counting them?
Oh, my gosh. I'm having a great time with this podcast.
Oh, it's a great
record.
conversation. Doug's over here.
We're going back. Anyway, Doug, before you rudely fell asleep on us.
I won't. I'm
so
good.
funny.
Wade is over in the corner laughing his ass off.
I want to get back to this. I don't want to lose where we're at because I'm really enjoying this conversation. Basically saying do it and be selfish about it. That way, if something happens, you're not kicking your own ass. Pretty much.
Right. You can go home and feel good about it. You'd be
That's
like,
smart.
all right, it just didn't walk tonight.
But you know what? What Kasey's going down, though, whether he's 200 inch or 150,
whatever deer you want.
Whatever deer you want, it applies the same thing because that deer is important to you.
Yep.
Right? But the more often you go in there, the more chances you have to kill them, but you have more chances to educate them.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So if you don't go in there with everything as much as possible in your favor, you're actually being your worst enemy.
Yeah. I think there's a fine line between the patience thing and then rolling the dice too long and letting opportunities go. Like, for me personally, if I see a deer that's starting the daylight and he's doing it repeatedly, like that's when I'm like, okay, it's getting to be the time, like when all the pressure, the wind direction, the temperature drop, everything lines up. It's like, okay, now it's time to go in and get it done.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I feel like it takes. Is that maybe the one quality between consistent, mature? Well, I won't go to the 200-inch killers because mature bucks is what we're talking about here at a baseline.
Sure.
Is that what you think? What separates the main thing that separates consistent mature buck killers from guys who can't figure it out or have not yet figured it out?
I think a lot of it comes down to making the shot and the pressure and thinking. There's a lot of things that go through it. Even though you see these animals, doesn't mean you can execute.
That's it's true.
That's
big. And
it's a heavy moment too.
It's a heavy moment. That's we don't want to debose too much, but we get pretty emotional when we put something down like that. Because there's a lot of work that goes into it.
Like you guys said earlier, it consumes everything about you.
Right.
That's the one time where your emotion can roll out because.
Well, and we understand how precious it is, too. I mean, how often are you going to get that opportunity to kill an animal of that caliber? Mm-hmm. Like a couple times in your lifetime, maybe. I mean, for us, anyways, you guys are doing it every 2 or 3 years. But no, it is. It's a special moment, and right. We realize how precious it is. So when everything culminates in that moment, it's emotional.
We got some pretty. We got some pretty. I guess.
Candid?
I'm looking for a clean word. Moments that are caught that, I wouldn't want to have seen to everybody because it's tough, when he's got to do his job, I got to do my job, and we're trying to do it with a bow and put it all on camera, which is double the scent, double the sound, double the movement. Does he have them? Do I have them? There's a whole there's so many deer that we've not killed because he had them, I didn't, and vice versa.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Right.
And to pull this off like this, it's really hard. And when it comes together, we're hugging, we're high-fiving shit. The blind is shaking, the tree's rocking, whatever it may be. And it's pretty emotional. It's a bond it's tough to switch up.
Oh well, and like a lot of people don't know it, but like to be quite honest, like we flip-flop the camera and bow a lot when we're hunting. Mm-hmm. So like. If I've got the camera on some setting and I pick it up and give it to him and he doesn't know where the camera's set up or how it is, he'll pick it up. It happened to us in Oklahoma. I have it set with the ND filters are turned way up because it's bright sunshine, and I hand him the camera and there's a deer coming in, and he's like, I can't see anything. What is going on here? I'm like, oh my God, that's my fault. I didn't. So there's just a lot of stuff.
But you're right. The camera guy has more pressure.
Oh, way more.
Yeah. Way more. Yes.
A lot more buttons.
Kasey shot his biggest Missouri buck this past fall, 155, 156.
Yeah.
And you'll see it this fall, this coming fall on Matthew's Bow Madness, and I was horrible. I'll flat out say it. The kill shot was amazing. Got that all laid down. He held the bow back for a minute 12 or a minute 14 at full draw.
Oof. It's a haul.
That's a haul on 72 pounds, by the way.
That's a haul.
That's a half an hour drawn.
That's a long time.
That's a half an hour.
Yeah, that's a long time. And so I'm got it all dialed. We're waiting, and then he smokes him. He's off running, and I put the camera against my chest, and I was so jacked up. I was more jacked up than him that the camera's going north to south way too much when he's running away. And I'm like, this is a rookie move.
Yeah, but
but I was so excited for him
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But when you sit there for a minute, 14 seconds at 18, 19, 20 yards, you know.
That's tough.
It's tough.
Well, we talked about it after. You're like, why am I shaking so bad? I'm like, I know what you did. You put the camera against your chest and you're breathing.
Oh, yeah. See, I don't, as a viewer, I don't mind that. Like, when I watch it, I think it's kind of, it adds to the realness of it, you know? Like, I think it's great. Either way, it's good.
But with the great audio, too. Like, it's sitting there, you can hear them, you know. And
Oh, my heart's going through the chest.
You can understand the whole situation. I mean, that's how I look at it from a viewer. That don't bother me at all seeing that. I'd be terrible at it, I bet. I don't ever want to be put. I mean, I don't want to say I don't ever want to be put in that situation. I'd like to film somebody kill a 200-inch deer, but I don't want to do it for jury and be like, hey, it's all on you or it's going down the shitter.
A lot of pressure there.
Yeah, don't put that on me. I'm the podcast guy.
I'm so glad I don't do anything with video.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a lot of respect for it, though. Like, we mean that in
a lot of
good
respect,
way.
right?
The reason why we do it, honestly, the number one reason is so that we can sit down at night and review it and look at it.
Yeah.
Or like 5 years from now. And
It's
go
a
back.
kick-ass home video, if you think about it.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It is.
I started this, when Derek was 9, and now he's 18. Okay? So, no, his first hunt. So I started 2 or 3 years before that. And I got his first video on his first deer hunt on video. It didn't really put it in perspective until like 2 years ago. I pulled out and watched him, and he was 15 or 16 at the time, and he was 9. Mm-hmm. I was like, man, I have every single season.
It's pretty cool.
But that wasn't the reason how I got into it.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome.
And so now we've got memories that will last forever that are really quite iconic for us. It may not mean much to everybody else, but for us, it's priceless.
Right.
Well, that's why
awesome, man.
All my buddies that kind of ask me about it or whatever, I'm like, I encourage people to do it. It doesn't matter on what level you do it. I mean, it could be a Tacticam on the front of your bow.
It's a GoPro or whatever.
Or whatever. Yeah. I mean, it could be, pardon my French, it could be the shittiest footage you've ever seen, but I guarantee you 5 years from now you're going to pull it up and be like, I just want to watch that again.
It's amazing how many moments you think you remember until you pull on and go, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And you're like, oh, my gosh.
That's what I filmed my bear hunt last just with my GoPro. Mm-hmm. I just put it on there. It's 20 yards. Of course, it looks like it's like 50 on a GoPro,
Right.
But, you can zoom in and it looks okay. And I remember watching that footage back, and I'm like, I don't remember, like, the sequence of events after the shot, how I remember is not how it views in the camera. Because it's weird. I remember, and I don't know if I had, like, an adrenaline rush, but when the bear went up and ran over 40 yards, the arrow went through him. I remember like I was looking through my binos at the exit hole, seeing everything hang out the exit hole. In the video, I don't look through my binos right away like I remember. So I don't know if I had like an adrenaline like zoom in of this this bear's exit wound.
Yep.
But like the timing of I look later on, I'm looking through trying to find where he fell. But in the moment, I must have had some sort of like.
Well, when you're in the moment like that too, everything happens so fast.
Well, it happens,
I made it up in my head.
But Kurt's onto something on that whole adrenaline rush. Your whole mindset is not normal.
No.
And when you try to recall things, he corrects me all the time, or I'll correct him, depending on who's behind the camera. He's like, no, that's not happening. I'm like, yeah, it did. Okay, let's pull it up.
Right, here it is.
You're right. It didn't.
But, I mean, like, in your
watch
mind,
this.
you were concentrating on the exit. You're like, where did I hit it? You were that's the only thing that you were thinking.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what you're looking at. Mm-hmm. Like, when he shoots a deer and I'm on the camera, I'm like, that thing's blowing blood everywhere.
You see it different.
It's a different perspective.
And he's like, what? Where did I hit him? How was it? The same question every hunter asks the cameraman.
Right.
Did I drill him? And for me, I'm if I'm looking at through the viewfinder, I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Is he down?
Is he down?
Is he down?
Is he down? Is he down?
Is he down? It's a mess. It's done. And he's like, tell me I drilled him. I'm like, oh my god.
Well, I do. That you say that. If I kind of take note of this when you watch hunting shows and the hunter does ask, and on the footage, like. The camera goes, oh, dude, he's dumping blood immediately.
Yep.
I don't know if it's just you guys got a closer
you got
perspective.
12, 15, 20x zoom.
Yep.
Right?
Right, yeah.
That's a different perspective.
It helps.
And the bow hunter, you're looking through
through a little hole.
Little peep.
Through
and he's got the whole perspective and a big screen.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, and we've now, it's been a few years, so like I almost feel bad when I'm filming, and I know he feels the same way, when you shoot a deer and you don't know, and maybe it was not 100% double lung or something, and you look at the camera guy and you're like, tell me I smoked him, and that guy goes, you see that look like,
maybe. He's like,
you're just like,
oh, maybe?
Like
maybe a little off.
Instant buzz kill.
Oh, yeah.
High to low right away, yeah.
And I've done it to you. I know I have. And
yeah.
you've done it to me. And you're like, tell me I smoked him. I'm like,
It is nice to have that
Might
reassurance.
have to leave it overnight.
Have that second guy in the tree with you. It's nice to get that second perspective.
Yeah, because, I mean, when I killed that buck, I killed a buck, old buck Creepy. That's what we call him because he's just weird looking. And when I killed him, I thought I high-shouldered him. Like, I called my dad, and I'm like, I fucking high-shouldered Creepy. And my dad's like, damn it, and which didn't help how I was feeling, it's not his fault. And I'm like, no, because I did the same. I waited for my move and finally went in. It was like second week of December. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, I heard him run and it stopped. Well, then, like, in my head, if I had a camera guy, he would be like, dude, you double lunged him. Like,
yes.
Right.
This tree stand angle, I thought I high-shouldered him. But I clean double lunged him. He ran 60 yards and crashed down a hill right there where I couldn't see him. Well, I get down to find my arrow is just snapped off at the fletching, and I look over the hill and I can just see white belly. Well, I wouldn't have had that moment of like, son of a bitch, I high-shouldered the buck I've been hunting for 2 years.
Cameraman or not, if you got a double set hung and you're hunting with a buddy, it's always a way better time.
It's a much better
It's
time.
always a way better time.
And that's how I got into this, because Mark, I was doing the solo thing, and we met, and he's like, I'll send you a camera guy up, and I was like, nah, I'm not interested. And
was he like, what?
yeah, no, it's a true story. And then, so long story short, he sent one up, and I ended up saying yes 2 or 3 years after he requested to do it. And that first night, I'm like, we went back, had a nice bite to eat, and all of a sudden the I thing became a we thing. Right? Because now you're trying to put together a plan for the next day. This guy's just as much invested as I am. He wants to see it happen.
Right.
It's no longer an individual thing. It's a team sport at that point.
For sure. That's cool.
And that's what fell in love for me for filming, was that alone. Because there's so many negatives when you do bring a second body, scent, sound, movement, all that. But there's much more on the backside, which is a mindset, another brain to pick.
Right.
All those things. It's kind of like if you win the lottery tomorrow, right? But you have nobody to share it with. What does it really mean?
Yep.
Right, yeah.
No, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, not much.
Not much. But when you shoot deer like we're tipping over, let me tell you, man, there's a whole lot of hugs going on and high-fiving and drinking late. And, it's a different element of excitement.
Yeah, it elevates everything.
It elevates everything you do. Now, the other side is when shit goes bad.
Oh, yeah.
It's just as bad, if not worse, because I feel bad for him, he feels bad for me, and all those things. So it's double the weight when it goes bad.
And there's nothing better, too, when you're in a stand with a buddy and, when he wants to tell you something, it's that slight little tap. But when there's a deer coming, it's
you just know right away.
You know right away there's a deer in sight somewhere.
No doubt.
Very true.
And I mean, you get that. Like, there's different sides of it. Like, we enjoy it, like being out there together and experiencing it all together.
It's a camaraderie, man.
But like, there's still going home and, telling the stories to your buddies. For anyone that doesn't film, hey, that's awesome too. Hey, guess what happened to me tonight? It's just, we enjoy this other side of it, and it's been great. I mean,
I'm assuming, I don't know if you're married or whatever, but
I'm engaged.
So what are your
about to be?
What you're getting trapped
July.
in there? You're coming in July, huh?
Yeah, fast.
Coming in hot. Hey, move your headset up just a wee bit. You're good.
Don't get married July 30th.
What are you guys' wives? I mean, obviously, your guys' old ladies will say that. They know what you do. They have to understand it, right?
Yeah.
Or,
very much.
You know what I mean? Like, are you got big taxidermy guys?
Yeah.
How's that go on at home?
That bill's getting a little out of control.
Yeah, I expected in the last 4 or 5
years. It's getting out of control. But, we're both very lucky. They both know what they got into.
Right.
And
no surprises here, I don't think.
No, there's not. But we are very lucky in that category.
No
extremely. Doubt. And without them and the support we have at home, we couldn't do what we do without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, 100%. You need an old lady that's got your back if you're doing stuff like that.
100%, because the time is pretty. Honestly, it's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
to do at the level we're trying to do it at. It's tough. It's not easy.
Yeah. You know what I always think about when, like, we talk to guys that are super high-level deer hunters on TV, like in magazines, just anyone we interview in the industry, I always want to be a fly on the wall when their significant other is telling their family or their girlfriends about it. Because for someone that you know what I'm saying? That you ever think about that?
Do they actually have their spouse's back, or are they like?
well, okay.
Is the buskin parked on his back or not?
That's not what I meant, but that's funny because that's another side of it.
happens.
I meant to the reaction like, oh yeah, my husband's a professional hunter. He kills giant deer on a hunting show on a big network. I just want to see like what that person like hunter who. He's a professional, and he kills deer for TV.
He gets paid to do that?
Yeah. Like, I just want to see those reactions. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just something that I don't know if gets thought about a lot. But then there is also my husband sucks because he's always gone.
Yeah. He's always hunting.
Well, I'm fortunate enough. So I met my current fiance when I was already doing the job that I'm doing, and it was a big positive because like she just knew what she was getting into.
Of course,
right.
But
that helps.
Her family is, I don't want to say they're non-hunters because they do go out on the opening day of Wisconsin's gun season, and they go out as a family and they shoot like a doe, and they're happy and hell. And
Tradition thing.
Yeah, but when she talks to them, like I was there when she introduced me to the family for the first time, and they're like, "Hey, what do you do?" And she, chimed in and said, "Exactly what you said. He's a professional hunter." I hate that. I hate that title. I'm like, is that really, But I'm like, okay, they'll figure it out if we talk about it.
Yeah.
And you get to watch what they look like, and they're like, so, well, how do you make like any money? Like, and her dad especially, are you going to support my daughter?
Right. Of course, yeah.
And I'm like, well, we're not going to go hungry,
Right.
So,
Got that covered.
I have no money, but I have lots of meat.
Yeah, we got food. What else do you need?
We live in a car, but we're not starving.
That's hilarious. So how long did it take them? I mean, I'm sure a couple times to break it down to where they understood it, or did it take a while?
I would say the first time her dad turned on like the outdoor channel and saw me killing a deer on there, then he was like, "Oh, this is badass."
Yeah,
right.
of course.
But before that, he's kind of like, "This guy's an idiot, probably." He didn't say that because he's a super nice guy.
Probably got some crappy YouTube channel.
Yeah, I saw the look in his eye.
Yeah, you weren't like Doug coming in there with a mustache.
No.
Hey, your daughter's awesome.
I'm on a shitty podcast.
I fall asleep on it sometimes.
Falling asleep talking to her dad.
I wish I would have had that mustache when I did show up, though.
Hey, Dad.
Call him
He
Dad.
called Dad right away.
Put her there, champ. He's just like, get out of my house.
Oh man, knowing him, he would have been like fine with it. He's a super good guy, but yeah, he didn't. They weren't tracking.
Yeah, I can imagine not, man. It's weird. I mean, we're not on that level right on the podcast, but people don't get like you have a hunt. What do you talk about all the time? Deer hunting every time. Like,
Well,
yeah,
I mean,
we're passionate about it.
In
It's
our
easy.
sense too, like it's cool to see the progression where we first started this. Where, hey, we started a bow hunting podcast. Well, what's a podcast?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fast forward to now, it's like, dude, I listened to your last episode. It was awesome. Them same people, and then they're like, we seen your logo driving through town. We've seen someone had a sticker on their truck. We've seen someone wearing your shirt. It's like, it's crazy where it's
from
come.
what's a podcast to. I mean, Rogan's kind of, on Spotify and mainstream made podcasts popular, which is great for everybody.
It's great that he's a hunter and did it.
Yeah, no
Right.
kidding.
Yeah.
No
No
kidding.
doubt.
That helped a lot too.
You guys have come a long ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
There's
not anyone that we talk to like,
Yeah.
oh, working class bow hunter. Oh
Yeah.
we listen to
Well,
their.
that's good to hear.
I mean, you
That's
guys
great
are
to
really
hear.
mainstream. Really, you guys are really not giving yourselves the credit that
We've
I
never
think
been
that's
called
out there.
mainstream, I don't think, but I'll take it.
You should.
I'll take it. Appreciate
You should.
that. I mean, it's a good feeling. It's a hustle, just like anything.
Well,
you guys
but if
did.
you do anything with passion, right?
Right.
You will do it the right way. And when you do it the right way, success typically follows. You may fail a few times, but the end result, you're gonna come out on top.
And that's
99%
how
of the
we
time.
learn from our mistakes, man.
100%, because you're always better the next day.
Yep.
It's a prime example of deer hunting, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
The more mistakes you make, you're one day closer to shooting a 150 or 170
That's right. Or 239.
or 230.
That's absolutely insane, man. What a killer run. I mean, over 4 years. I'd love to see the taxidermy in your house, man.
You know what we should do is we should do a podcast at our shed.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll have you up.
I'm down for that.
And then we can do it there and video it there. You'd
Well,
be the first.
Okay.
You'd be the first.
We'll bring old fashions.
Road trip.
We can do that.
Whiskey and old fashions.
We can do that. We'll even house you. We'll make it a freaking whole night, and
I'm down for that.
We'll do it the first time we come out with our own beer.
There you go.
There you go.
Easy. Hey. I can't let that get out of it yet.
I mean, our own soda.
That's better.
Now everybody thinks we have a beer coming out in like 2 weeks. Ease up, we don't.
Give us a couple years.
We got something rocking. No, we don't. Maybe we do. Either way, we're down to come up there and record.
Keep guessing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Maybe we do. I don't know. Just keep supporting us, and we'll see what we can do for you.
Yeah, you definitely should take
Bush
them up
slide,
on
eat
that.
shit. You're going down.
I'm done with this.
Yeah.
Just throw it.
You can give them the ultimatum now.
Yeah. Listen, here's what it is.
Either with or against us.
Well, I'm down for that, man. That'd be fun. And once we got some things in the works, you have to come down to the studio and
Love to.
And we'll have time to do a deep dive, like 3-hour long haul episode. And
I was thinking we should have had Scott from HHA join us.
yeah, where
tonight.
is he?
Oh, we tried
I've not
calling
heard
him
from him all
today.
day.
We haven't heard from him.
Is he here?
He's
He
here.
was here.
Yeah.
He is here.
He's here somewhere.
Text him.
Really?
I called him twice
over there.
today, and he didn't answer.
Well, that's normal.
Yeah. Watch.
Well,
I'll text
good
him right
point.
now. If he
Good
texts me
point,
back,
but-
then he hates you guys.
Oh, shit.
Actually, call him. Call her
Text
bluff.
him.
He's tough.
What time is it? I don't know if we should call him right now.
He goes to bed early, but
11.
he's an early riser.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
just texted him.
He's an early riser.
Getting the invite to the shed, that's a big deal. Normally,
Okay.
when a person goes in there and sees it, then he
It's a
threatens
minute.
their life in the corner.
He's
If
got
you
one of
ever-
those things from
you-
Men in Black.
Man in
where
Black gun. That's right. That's
you ever
right.
talk about
lose your
this
memory.
again,
Sign this
right.
non-disclosure statement.
That's right. I said there will be a laser on your car as you exit. Do not even think about sharing this information.
I'm honored.
We have to be.
I'm nervous.
You would be the first.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Oh, dang.
Dang, we're the first.
We're not worthy.
We're gonna be the first podcast to infiltrate.
That's
What do you call it?
We just call it the shed.
The shed.
Yep.
All
But
right. I like this.
But it's a beautiful place.
I'm
A
excited.
lot
man.
of stories on the wall.
Well, I'm excited for some follow-up episodes, man. This
Absolutely.
was fun. If this was the trade show teaser podcast, imagine what, like a full blast.
Well, we got to video that one, of course, even though
Oh,
we're
yeah.
doing this one, but we got to do that one.
Okay.
It's like a metal detector before you go in the shed. And like, no cameras, please. He takes your cell phone.
Yeah. Takes your phone.
Honestly, we got her locked down pretty good. It's hard to get any service in there, really.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
Well,
Shut
I mean,
the Wi-Fi off, you'd be good.
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah, you
Lock
would
it
be
down.
good. If we shut the Wi-Fi off, you would be good.
We all got to put our phones in a jar.
Yeah. In case.
Yep.
He puts it in his gun safe so we can't.
He just,
Definitely
he just
can't get to
microwaves
it.
our phones.
There is a microwave in there, too.
Son of a bitch. He got us.
He's got me. He's got my secrets already nailed.
Well, you guys want to close out with anything?
You know, it's an honor, guys. It was fun. You know, we've talked about this now for 6-7 weeks, whatever it was,
Yeah.
and didn't make it happen in Iowa, and got them to do it here. So,
We'll do plenty
You know,
more now.
If anyone wants to see these pictures of these deer, where can they find you guys at?
you know, Drury Outdoors Deercast, you know, the journal there. You can see us, follow us all season long. All the episodes that we filmed this past year, which would have been the fall of 2020, we'll start airing. First episode will be the first week of July on the Outdoor Channel called Matthew's Bow Madness. Mm-hmm. Casey's got a couple on that show. I've got a couple. The 233 will be on that as well. We got some out west stuff that's going to be shown.
Awesome,
A trip
awesome.
out to Colorado and New Mexico, chasing elk out there. Some pretty epic footage, some pretty amazing ranches we were lucky enough to go on. But you can follow us along there all year long, and obviously Instagram as well. Greg Glesinger _ Drury Outdoors. Pick us up there as well. But that about covers it. Did I miss anything, Casey?
No, I would throw in that on the Deercast app, if you are a member or subscribe to it, you can go to the Deercast now, and you can view the meat of those hunts, meaning like every time Greg or I kills a deer or any of the team members kill a deer, you can watch it live almost. I mean,
within 72 hours.
Yeah, we try to get them up as fast as possible, and it's basically the meat of the hunt, which is, in our opinion, it's almost some of the best stuff.
It is the best.
Yeah,
which is a short clip with the kill shot, and you can watch it right on there about as fast.
And
as
you can go back and watch all the other like Drury production stuff from previous seasons. There, like the entire libraries on DeerCast, I believe. Right?
It is. Yeah, as long as you have the pro or the elite version, you have access to that.
I mean, what's the elite version?
I think it's $19.99, and then the pro is $9.99, and then they have a free version.
Yeah, it's $20.
$20. Yeah, so you might as well go $20 and get everything.
We have a code for
about.
DeerCast, but I can't right now. I don't have it in front of me. I'll put it in the intro and in the description, so you can go in there and save some money. There's a code on there. I think it's still active. If not, I'll talk to Mark.
I'll tell you that DeerCast track is worth.
That's the shit.
That's worth the $20 alone.
It is.
Oh yeah.
100%.
Forget about anything else.
That's the shit.
It's the
DeerCast
real
track's
deal.
Awesome.
It's incredible.
It is.
Yeah, highly
And
recommended.
For you that don't know, Kasey had the #1 booner dog in the country for a while for deer tracking.
No kidding.
Yeah, I had my own little deer tracking business.
Oh shit.
Yeah, for a while, and I just recently purchased another dog that we're getting going. So,
Frankie.
Yep. So
you're going to see Frankie upcoming soon.
No
Because
kidding.
they just legalized that in Iowa.
Yes, they did.
Yes.
Yep.
They did.
That's a whole other podcast in itself right there, man.
So Booner, his previous dog was a bloodhound, and he tracked how many?
Well, it's I've got it broken down to the years. Last year we did 89 tracks, found 72 deer out of 89.
Wow,
was an awesome experience. That's how Greg and I met, actually. So I wasn't tracking a deer. We've met. I was doing a seminar, and we met that.
That's
way.
a great story. Derek, actually, my son, who was probably 12 at the time,
I'm guessing.
He was like, "Hey, we're at the Deer Fest, in
Wisconsin.
Yeah,
West Bend.
Yeah. And we were killing time to, I don't know what we were going to do. And he said, "Hey, I want to go see this deer track, this dog thing." And I'm like, "Whatever.
Let's go."
You know, it was more about the dog than it was anything. And he was little. I'm like, whatever he wants to do, let's go.
Yeah.
So we went, and he was giving the seminar.
No kidding.
And that's how we met. So we started talking after the seminar, and one thing led to another, and a year later, here we are.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So one
That
been
is
for
awesome.
Derek taking us to the seminar. I'm not so sure Kasey and I ever crossed paths.
That's awesome.
It is all because of the damn dog.
Damn dog.
Yeah,
Man, that's
what's crazy is the evolution of technology, which is now like people still call me, and I kind of got out of the deer tracking thing because I've been busy with all the Drury Outdoors and all that stuff. But when you talk to someone now, they call me and I'll talk to them about how to treat a track and all this stuff, and just discuss the hit with them and try to give them my 2 cents. And they're like, "Well, I got this DeerCast track. I'm like, "Well, great, perfect. You have the app. Show me where you hit the deer. Show me the angle you use at. Show me where so I can use that to myself, and look at it, and it's just stuff streamlining as fast as you can imagine." So
that's awesome.
Have
man.
you guys ever been behind a deer tracking dog?
No,
Never ever.
Never.
If you ever have the opportunity, do not miss it. It is unbelievable to watch the talent that these dogs do. It is crazy.
No kidding.
It's so impressive.
I've heard stories about. I mean, I've heard you guys. I'm sure you guys heard of that Tracker John.
Oh yeah,
He's
we
on
know.
DeerCast all over.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
oh yeah.
And
we know
we've
John
heard
well.
stories about him, how them dogs can smell droplets of blood that you can't even see with the naked eye.
Oh yeah,
It's insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's a whole other podcast, man. We'll have to do one and deep dive on that because I want to learn a bunch about that.
He well, how many was it over the period of time? You had the #1 dog in the country for a while,
yeah,
right?
for a while per the United Blood Trackers testing process and all that. Yes, I mean, put it this way, not to discredit what we did, because that was a great dog and it led to a lot of opportunities for me. But Tracker John, who you just brought up, is someone that I use. Like, that's who I ask as far as training, tracking, and learning how. So, everyone gets their information somewhere, but,
right? Of
so
course,
that guy really is got it on another level.
Yeah,
right.
He's very iconic in this space.
Yeah, iconic's a good term. Everybody knows of
He
Tracker
is.
John.
Yes.
He is.
Because he's
a one of one.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. I've never met him, but our buddy Jack Ficara at 5 Seasons Lodge, they use him all the time.
Yeah.
You know how we talk about deer hunting 365? That's what he does, 365.
It's crazy.
That's it.
That's it. That's all he does.
That's
Does
pretty
he just
badass.
track deer with them dogs, or does he have like other kind of hunting dogs?
No,
that's
his
it.
life right
That's
there.
it.
That's it.
Really?
That's all he does. 12 months out of the year.
So what's he doing in the off season? Training them and
Training him.
keeping
That's
up with
all
it?
he does.
No
Really?
kidding.
That's it.
Yeah, he's got a very in-depth program. It's
Yes.
phenomenal.
But once again,
He's
passion
passionate.
leads
He's
to
passionate.
success.
That's right.
And the hard work does not. You can't take the elevator on hard work. You have to take the stairs.
Yeah.
There's no way around it.
Kick ass. Well, I'm excited, man. We got a lot of podcasts to get done, I think, in the future. I'm like thinking of all
we
these
might have
different.
to stay at the shed for like 2 weeks to do this podcast.
There you go.
I'll keep coming up with show ideas as we move along. Well, cool. I appreciate it, fellas. It was fun.
Yes, thanks for
I'm
having
excited
us.
for more.
Absolutely, man. It was
We'll,
always a good
we'll hit
time.
the record button. All the cameras will be off. Like, hey, just so you know, we're never fucking coming back. Doug fell asleep.
He calls Mark right as he gets out the door. Hey, you know that guy with the mustache? He sucks.
Yeah,
Fire him.
cut him off.
Yeah.
And for the record, if nobody's ever met Doug, he looks like Travis Pastrana.
That's funny
Period.
you say that, man.
Period.
That's the first guy that ever told me that. And ever since someone you said that, people just they see it now.
Everyone says Earnhardt.
100%.
Everyone
So,
says Earnhardt.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Travis. He's all Travis. Everything. The smile, the eyes, all of it.
Oh, stop.
100%.
Maybe
Look,
boy.
he's blushing. Now he's awake because you're talking about it.
100% is Travis.
He's probably not as crazy.
No.
No.
Hell no.
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 Definitely don't got much steel in me either.
Not a lot of
Yeah,
talent.
that's true.
Not a lot of talent, but he looks good.
That guy cannot go through a metal detector.
No.
for sure.
No. Have you seen him walk?
Yeah, I feel bad for the guy.
Oh.
Well, do I though?
Oh,
I don't know if I do.
my.
He kind of he had that coming. Well, anyway, appreciate it, fellas.
Thank you, guys. Pleasure.
There it is.
Very good meeting you guys.
Yeah.
Likewise.
You guys too. Thank you.
All right, you know what to do. Go shoot your bow. We love you.